Let's just jump right into it. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you wake up one day and pretty much every single job can be done better, faster, and way cheaper by machine. What happens then? What does our world even look like?
Think about the jobs we hold up as the peak of human skill, like doctors, right? The people we trust with our actual lives. Or lawyers who have to navigate these incredibly complex legal systems.
What about drivers?
I mean, millions and millions of people do that for a living all around the world. And now it's even coming for the creative stuff, the things we thought were safe, like writing and art. From a cold, hard economic perspective, the logic is kind of brutal. An automated workforce, it doesn't need a salary, it never goes on strike, it never ever calls in sick. It's just algorithms doing their job perfectly 24/7. So that brings us right to the big, really uncomfortable question at the heart of all this. What actually happens to us, to society, when human labor just isn't a necessary ingredient anymore? And to really get a handle on this, you have to realize this is about so much more than just a paycheck. Work is like this hidden skeleton that holds our whole social world together.
Sure, we think of work as how we get paid, and of course it is. But look at what it really gives us. It gives us our identity. It gives us a sense of purpose, our status in the world. It gives our days structure, and it connects us to a community.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. When someone asks you, "So, what do?" They're not asking about your hobbies, right? They're asking for your job title, because that's our social shorthand for who you are and where you fit. If that vanishes, we lose a huge piece of ourselves. Okay, so let's shift gears and talk about the money, because this whole situation creates a massive, mind-bending paradox. How is it possible for an economy to be cranking out more stuff than ever before, but leave almost everyone with nothing? Our economy, for centuries, has run on a pretty simple loop. People work, they earn money, then they spend that money. Businesses grow because of that spending, and then they hire more people. Work, earn, spend, grow. The whole thing just keeps itself going. But here's the problem. Mass automation shatters that loop. Productivity, the amount of value being created by all these machines, it goes through the roof. But if nobody has a job, nobody has any money. Purchasing power totally collapses. And that's the paradox. You've got an economy that can make literally anything you want, but nobody can afford to buy it. Because, robots don't buy groceries, people do. So this huge problem has people talking seriously about some radical solutions, like universal basic income. You've probably heard it called UBI. The basic idea is, look, if machines are creating all this insane wealth, maybe if a government can tax a slice of that and just give a piece to every single citizen. It acts like a safety net so everyone can at least cover the basics and still be part of the economy. So you can see we're standing at this massive fork in the road. And broadly speaking, there are two very, very different futures we could be heading for. Is this technology going to divide us like never before? Or is it going to be the thing that finally sets humanity free? So on one hand, you've got the dystopian view, a world split into two classes, a tiny group of people who own the AI and the robots, and then everyone else, the biggest wealth gap in all of human history. But the optimistic view, it's that we're all freed from boring, repetitive work, unlocking this incredible new era of creativity, science, art, a true human renaissance. Now, it's easy to think this is completely new, but we should probably get some perspective. Huge technological disruptions have happened before. Agriculture replaced hunting. The Industrial Revolution replaced farming. Computers replaced a ton of factory jobs. Each time, society was turned upside down, and each time, we adapted. So the big question is, what does AI replace? And is this time different? But let's just imagine for a second we pull it off. We get the optimistic future, we figure out the money problem with something like UBI. We are still left with a much deeper, much more human problem. Because even if our income is taken care of, our purpose may not be. Think about it. We are wired to strive, to solve problems, to contribute. If survival is just guaranteed and there's no need to work, we could be looking at a massive psychological crisis, widespread identity loss, huge mental health challenges, a total collapse in motivation, and a society that just kind of falls apart without that shared structure of work holding it together. So when you pull all these different threads together, you start to see what the real question we're facing is. The debate isn't actually about if jobs are going away, it's about what we consciously choose to build to replace them. For way too long, the whole conversation has been stuck on one simple and honestly kind of superficial question. The problem isn't about asking, will AI take our jobs? Because let's be real, that ship has sailed. It's already happening. It's a done deal. We need to be asking a much bigger, much better question. The real question, the one that truly matters, is this: who gets to design the system that comes next? Because this isn't a tech problem anymore. This is a question about our values, about power, and about how we want to design society itself. And make no mistake, what we're talking about is nothing less than a complete redesign of civilization. We're being forced to redefine the absolute core pillars of our world: what we consider valuable, what counts as a contribution, how we decide who gets status, how wealth is created and shared, and, maybe most importantly, how we find purpose. Which brings us to one final, very personal question. A question this future is going to force every single one of us to answer for ourselves. For all of human history, to survive meant you had to work. So if you take that away, if you don't have to work, who are you?